Hi guys, welcome back to yet another video. If you're joining me for the very first time, welcome. Today's video is going to be a sit down. It's a different vibe from what we've been doing for the past couple of weeks, but I just thought, you know what, let me actually do a Q&A because firstly, the last time I did a Q&A was years ago. It was actually one of my very first YouTube videos, and I was just doing like an introductory Q&A and just to get to know you guys and for you guys to get to know me a little bit better. And so I decided to go onto Instagram and ask things that people wanted to know about me or from me, my opinions on things, etc. I did answer quite a few of them on Instagram. And if you guys are not following me on Instagram, I'm a lot more active on there, but I'm trying to be a lot more consistent on this side as well because we are on the road to 10K. So very excited about that. The first question was, what is my most favorite part of my body? I think on Instagram I had said my eyes and my smile, which is not a lie. I really do love my features, specifically my big eyes. I think that they make me look quite youthful and expressive. This wasn't a question, but someone had said if I was given an opportunity just for one day to choose to be someone else, I would choose to be you. You're so beautiful and smart. I love you. I got a lot of these not questions, but these comments, and I was honestly just quite shocked and very overwhelmed, but pleasantly so because people were thinking of me in that way. I definitely don't think that I live a perfect life at all. I think that this year I have alluded many times in my videos that it has been quite a tough year, emotionally and mentally for me as well. So I haven't been my optimal best this year, let me put it that way. So it's quite nice to also hear that even in the midst of chaos, still I guess motivate and inspire other people, because that's not how I feel about myself, So yeah, these messages are very heartfelt, very grateful for them, and yeah, I hope that I can continue to inspire you guys. Right, so on to the next question. The next question was, what was the worst food I've ever eaten? And I'm a very picky eater. I think that there's a lot of things that can go under here, but honestly, anything that is very out there. I'm such a simple girl. I like simple food. I don't like anything very complicated with too many flavors and just so much going on. I'm not a huge fan of seafood, so like sushi and prawns and lobster and what else have I been trying? Mussels and all that stuff. Like, it's not for me. It's really not for me. I've tried it multiple times this year, and I think the only place I've actually enjoyed it was Zanzibar. Zanzibar was the only place I actually really liked the seafood. Otherwise, no. You actually love your job. Spicy. But I think it's a very valid question. I think that you're probably asking because there's probably a lot of, I don't want to call us social media doctors, because we have social media and we have a bit of a following on social media, and as a result speak to a larger mass of people. But yeah, I mean, I've even just been seeing the trend this year, that not this year alone, but in general, that there's quite a lot of my generation of doctors that are not necessarily either specializing or are like kind of going for like the nice side of medicine, so aesthetic medicine, and opening up their own practices like GP practices. Like, people are not necessarily going for the hard-hitting, crazy academic life of specializing, which I completely get it, because being in the system, you are humbled every single day, and you are reminded that you are just in a system where things are just constantly in chaos. And as a result, you sometimes have to choose your mental health over other things, So sometimes you choose your mental health over your dreams, because what we wanted and what we dreamed of when we were younger, I remember thinking, I'm going to be a cardiothoracic surgeon, I'm going to be a plastic surgeon, all these things. And as a child, when you think of these things, you just completely don't think about the challenges. You're completely idealizing something. You don't think, or you don't know about what is to come and what is required of that specific goal. And when you are in the system and you realize that you're not maybe willing to put up with that anymore, you opt out, and it's okay. You know, it's okay to change our minds. Sorry for going all around to answer this question. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is I still love my job personally. Just very recently, I'm currently in anesthesiology, and I came across just so many patient interactions that were very heartfelt for me. And it always brings me back to why I chose medicine in the first place. Like, we really truly make a huge difference in people's lives. And I think that sometimes the noise around it can make you feel like this is not worth it, this is not for you, all of that. But if you really truly have that passion and that heart for people, somehow, somewhere, it will be an underlying passion of yours and the reason why you still are in the profession. So personally, I still love my job. I don't really like the hours. I don't really like the working conditions. And I'm not going to be silent about it, because I think that it is also my duty to speak up about certain things that do affect, not just doctors, but everyone. Physiotherapists, OTs, nurses, speech therapists, like everyone in healthcare in the government is affected by this. Patients are also affected by this. Actually, the biggest people who are affected by all of this mismanagement are patients. And so is for us to just have a working system so that we could all be happy. To be very honest, I think that would be just the perfect balance for me. And I would say 100% that yes, I still love my job if that was the case. But yeah, I love my job, but I'm holding on to the small inklings of it. I'm not gonna lie. Not every day is great. Not every day is dandy. And I'm questioning quite a lot for myself, but we'll see how that goes. Another, not question, but comment was, "You're so beautiful. I love your spirit and how humble you also are. I enjoy your YouTube content and please post more." That is what I'm planning on doing. I'm trying to make a video every week, guys. So you're gonna be seeing more of my face. Sometimes, honestly, the videos are really not going to be like the best in terms of production quality and all of that. But I just realized I need to let go of being a perfectionist and let things just happen. Next question was, how many pageants did I do before I entered Miss South Africa? So if you guys have been following my journey, I entered Miss SA last year, got into the top 3, and had been contracted to the Miss SA organization for the past year. So my contract ended, I think August, I'm not too sure. And yeah, Miss SA was one of my biggest goals, like from very, very young. I was that girl. I was that 13-year-old watching the Road to Miss SA every Sunday, watching all my basically like role models become such phenomenal women, businesswomen, philanthropic, everything. And that's always been a goal of mine, to not only just walk the Miss SA stage, but to one day be Miss South Africa. Yeah, so as a result, I kind of curated my life and almost planned for things in a certain way. So I tried to prep myself by doing smaller pageants. So my very first pageant was Miss Teen Western Cape when I first moved to Cape Town to study at Stellenbosch. That's when I did it in first year. That was 2016, I think. And I was first princess for that, so that was very exciting because it was my very first pageant. I had no support, no prior training, and I just walked in there, guys. I borrowed a dress from a friend, walked in there, did the interviews, walked on stage. My friends from university were there supporting me, and honestly, it was probably one of the most candid memories I will always just have, that people believe in you even if you have no experience in anything, and they still show up for you. And I'm so grateful for my friends for that. And that's just one of those things in my core memories that, like, I cannot believe people actually really believed in me that much, So I did Miss Teen Western Cape, then I tried for Miss Sundowns. And then in 2019 I did Miss Earth South Africa, one of the best experiences of my life. Miss Earth was something that I really, really, really enjoyed, and I really enjoyed the ethos and what they actually stood for. And I think it was one of the pageants where I felt like these people actually mean business. Like, you're not here to just be beautiful, pretty, well-spoken. You are actually here to do the work. We had to plant trees. When I say we were planting trees, we were visiting schools, we were doing proper community service. And that's what I really loved about it. I felt so happy during my year, and it was one of the best experiences, I would have to say. So yeah, I've done 3 pageants before Miss South Africa. I did get a few questions on my romantic relationship, which I have not yet spoken about on YouTube, because I don't know. I think that's one of those things that I was quite nervous about. And also, you know, when you're still figuring things out, guys, like, we need to be sure before we show people on social media that they are the ones, right? I'm being so dramatic, but essentially, someone asked, congratulations on your romantic relationship. Why am I a white man, if I may ask? And I laughed because it's a valid question, but it was also just quite interesting in the sense that a lot of people were quite surprised that I was dating a white guy. I'm not sure why, but for me, I've never really felt like, oh my goodness, I need to stick to one type of person or one race in order for me to be happy. I think even throughout university, I would honestly go on dates with a variety of people, different guys. Like, it could be like one day an Indian man, the next day, okay, not the next day, but next week a colored guy, the other time a white guy, the next time a Xhosa man. Like, I was just mixing it up. Also because when you're young, you're in university and you're just living life, guys, live life. Let me tell you that. And I don't regret it. I think that it's always good to date around so you can figure out what you like, or figure out who you click with, you know? So I can't say that I was sitting there planning to end up with the person that I ended up with. It was just simply that we matched on a dating app and we met. Didn't really like 100% click on the first date, but I think that as a result, like, time just went on and I was like, okay, this is kind of going to work out. So that's how it happened. And then someone asked, is there any specific reason why you've kept your relationship private? I guess it's the same thing, you know. What I had alluded to previously was that I'm one of those people that don't like to make mistakes. Like, I don't make mistakes. I don't like making mistakes for myself, but I don't also like making mistakes in front of other people. You know, the secondhand embarrassment is hectic on my side. And I also wanted to be sure. I think that it's very easy to get very caught up in social media and wanting to like show off things, if it's a material thing, if it's a, you know, your first whatever. And I think that I try and be quite thoughtful, authentic, and really sit down and reflect before I make those big decisions and those big announcements. I don't think I would have done that if I felt like this was just like a 3-month thing. Yeah, that's why I kept it private. And then someone said, hi, I am doing BSc in biology science at Wits. I wanted to do medicine and they said I can get through medicine through GEMP here at Wits. However, I am failing. I'm a first year student, by the way. I even want to give up, but I love medicine. So for people that don't know, you can actually join medicine through the GEMP program. And how it works is that you have studied something else, or a undergraduate or some sort that is in health sciences, and then you join into medicine in GEMP. I think it's 4th year or something along those lines. And basically, it just allows you to bridge what you're doing in your undergrad and then going into medicine to become a doctor. So for a lot of people, I think that obviously the job can be quite strenuous and something completely new, because medicine is so specialized. It's quite insane. Like, you go from something very broad and then you go completely into something so specific. My advice honestly would just be to have a really good support structure and surround yourself with people that are going to be able to help you, because I think that a lot of times in life we try to get through things by ourselves, not knowing that it really could be like that friendship group, it could be that study group that gets you through a challenge. I think that for me, in final year, I don't think I would have survived final year if I didn't have my friends or my pod mates around, because final year was brutal. Final year, I don't know, I lost a bit of myself in final year, I will not lie. I don't think that I came out the same right way that I did when I went into medical school. Final year broke me in a way. And I think that, as I said, I wouldn't have the resilience and I wouldn't have the tenacity to still continue if I didn't have people that were around me still going through the same thing. So I think that it's so important that you maybe surround yourself with people that are also similarly going through something like what you're going through, maybe really also trying to get through the year. Just remember to not give up. The only way to get there is to keep trying, no matter how hard it is. Alrighty. Someone said if I could please do a live on Instagram soon. I would love to do a live on Instagram. I just get really nervous on lives. The next question was, hi Maratu, I'm only 16 and I want to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. When I'm older, school is hard, but you motivate me every day to work harder. I just wanted to say thank you for entering this essay, because without you, I wouldn't have realized my passion. Thank you for being raw with the content you share. I admire you. Oh, guys, that's so nice. No, like I am so grateful for you guys. I'm so grateful for the messages that I get. It's quite shocking, as I said before. And good luck, hey? Like, good luck. You have big dreams, and I'm happy for you completely. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Like, don't let people tell you that you can't make it. Don't let people tell you that you can't do it. You can. The next question was, I'm a junior doctor in Ghana and was considering moving to SAs to specialize, but your last video discouraged me. Thanks for the timely advice. Oh no. Okay. Well, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't listen to me 100%, you know, because things could change in the next 5 years. We don't know what the healthcare system in South Africa is going to look like. So don't completely discount the positives. I'm just giving my current perspective and my current experience and what I wish I knew before I got to this point. But yeah, I feel like SA still is doing okay. Still doing all right. Could be doing way better. And I think that, yeah, you probably will still get quite valuable teachings and skills in a South African hospital. So I don't think that you should completely discount it. Just to be more open-minded and a lot more knowledgeable before you make such a big step, you know? So next question is, how do you make sure you keep who you are and your hobbies and passions, etc., while studying medicine and working as a doctor? It's a very valid one. I have always been very multifaceted, have always had various interests in different things. Like, I never just studied in medical school. Part of the reason why I have a YouTube channel is simply because I liked other things. You know, I liked modeling. I liked just trying out different things that would really challenge me outside of medicine. And I always wanted to keep true to myself and not become so enamored by that life. Like, you're only a doctor, you need to be prim and proper, you can't dress like this, you can't speak that way, you can't have certain conversations. I feel like, honestly, those days are gone where we all believe that about professionals. We're young, we're working, and yes, we are doing very hectic professions. However, you can still have personality and you can still be who you are. Advice to a medical student who feels like they're about to fail the year and are now suicidal. So that's a heavy one, actually. You know, failure is a very tricky thing. I know I mentioned failure at the beginning of the video, and I said that I'm afraid of failure, but I've learned very quickly that you can't prevent it, especially if you want to grow. It's one of those things where if you want to get to a specific place in your life, you do have to fail. You need to allow yourself that margin of growth, and failure is important. If you feel like you're going to fail, I want you to understand that it's not the end. It's not the end of the world. I failed many times in my life. I've just never broadcasted them. I've never sat there and I cried, you know, on the times that I failed. Like, I can give you an example where this is super embarrassing, guys, but you know what? I'm going to share this because I think that, as I said, we need to shed, you know, away this pretense that we're all living like fantastically perfect lives, because it's not true. I bought my car last year, July, I have a video on my YouTube about buying my very first car, which is a Mercedes Benz. And I think that for a lot of people, if you see that, you're like, oh my gosh, like this is perfect, like you have a nice life, you have, you know, your first car being a Mercedes Benz is crazy, because for some people it is their dream car, you know. And it made me just think and reflect, and made me realize that it took a while and it took a lot for me to get to that point. I didn't just walk in and get that car. I failed my license multiple times. I think I failed my license like 5 or 6 times, guys. Like, it's not even funny. That I initially tried 3 times in 3rd year, failed all those 3 times, took a break, like I took a year break because I was so traumatized from the whole experience. Came back in 4th year, tried again, failed that time again, took a break again, came back in to like Johannesburg to see my family, tried again, failed, and I eventually got it a year before I got my car. But it was honestly the most traumatic experiences ever, and I think that to some people it might really be funny that I failed my license this many times. But for somebody that is like me, who's a nervous driver, or like you panic a lot, you panic very easily. I've mentioned quite a few times that I'm quite an anxious person. Getting my license was not fun. And so I never even like thought, oh, maybe I should share this, maybe it's relatable. But it was simply because it was like such a personal failure, and I was like, why can't I do this one simple thing that other people can do so easily, you know? But that's just a simple example of, we all think that everybody is great. So I'm just telling you now that failure is quite normal, and it really doesn't mean that it is the end for you or it's the end of your life. This degree is not the end of your life. Trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me. You are special, and you have other talents, and you have everything that can still go right for you. And it's important to realize that you're more than a degree. Failure doesn't mean that you are stupid or unworthy. It just means that sometimes some of us have to try harder than other people. And if you do feel suicidal, if you do feel like you're really struggling, it's so important to not keep that in. So important that you are open and you try seek help, because that's the only way that you can also just help yourself get through this very difficult period in your life. I would suggest getting some professional help, like even if it's from your university, you can start there, or just speaking to a friend or even a family member so that they can try and assist you. But I'm just letting you know now that you are worthy and you can do this. Someone asked, is my boyfriend a doctor as well, and was I not scared of Tinder? Child. So sorry. No, he is not a doctor. I would not really date a doctor personally. I don't really like doctors, guys. I don't know. I think male doctors are just different. And for the people that know, okay. I tend to actually go for people that are completely very different to me, not necessarily opposites, but a lot more creative people, people either in completely different industries to me, but always like in some sort of artistic or creative way. So no, he's not a doctor. Was I scared of Tinder? Yes and no. So for me, I've never really had a really bad experience on dating apps. I've been quite, I would say, fortunate in a way, but I'm also quite, like, I'm very, very pedantic, and I sift through things very meticulously. So I don't think that I would have even allowed myself to meet someone dodge personally. So yeah, I've never had a bad experience, but I do have to say, please guys, if you do try, like, just always be safe, always meet in a public space, and always tell someone else where you're going, because at this rate of femicide in this country, of things just going wrong, we do not want to like put ourselves in very difficult situations unnecessarily. Okay, we're going into the last questions now. Someone asked me how old am I? I am 26 currently. Oh my goodness, a 96 baby, and we are getting old, guys. Highlight of my year, highlight of this year, let's see. Highlight of my year. Okay, I think one of the highlights of my year was that I traveled to another country. I've always wanted to go elsewhere, try different African countries, try different countries in general. And I'm so grateful that I got to go to Zanzibar. It's always been one of my, you know, top ones on my bucket list. So I'm happy. That was probably one of my highlights of my year. Being away also during winter and load shedding was fantastic. Last question, guys. What tips do I have for a first-year medical student who is really anxious about doing OSCEs? So for people that do not know, OSCEs are basically practical examinations, practical and oral examinations that we do in medical school to determine whether you are a safe enough doctor to like leave the university. So OSCEs are traumatic. I will say that because honestly I suffered throughout OSCEs. I did not like those things at all, because it's one thing to study and to go and write an exam. Like I prefer writing and I prefer MCQs, stuff like that. Just know that everyone has gone through it. I always have a system. Always approach things in a systematic manner so that you don't get overwhelmed by the surroundings. Like don't get overwhelmed by the fact that there's a doctor watching you and making you panic. Rather focus on your breathing and focus on the content of the work that you studied or didn't study, because that happens too. The anxiety that comes with the OSCEs is what can trip you up and can make you fail. So if you can manage your anxiety, then you've won. Unfortunately, I had to take some like medication, anti-anxiolytics, and sometimes stress them for my anxiety in terms of OSCEs and just examinations in general. And I think that it was very important for me to acknowledge that I struggled. I didn't try to be a superhuman and think that I can get through certain things all by myself. Sometimes you do need to be medicated. So I think that it depends on how bad it actually is for you. Like, is your family cool with you having a white partner or boyfriend? It's not offensive, but that's simply because I'm just scared. I have very strict parents, guys. Like I have extremely strict parents, and I grew up with strict Sotho parents, and I'm not comfortable as yet to introduce anyone to anyone. And I think it's okay. I'll get there when I get there, you know. I really don't want to stress myself out with stuff like that as yet. I never thought of marriage until like very recently. I know that these are things that like girls dream of, like what your wedding is going to look like, your wedding dress, all that stuff. I never really dreamt of marriage, guys. I genuinely was one of those people that felt like if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it's okay too, because I've always been a lot more career driven, a lot more career orientated, because I don't know, I feel like at the end of the day, we only have ourselves to account for. You can't account for another person. You can't control another person. You can't control their feelings. You can't control how they treat you. And so I've just always focused on myself and kept things moving. So if I never thought of when I want to get married, I could get married at 35, 40, and I'll be fine. Or I could not get married, and that's fine too. So I'm honestly quite indifferent about it. It's not the most conventional answer, but yeah. Thank you so much for joining this question and answer video. I got such an array of questions, and I didn't get to absolutely everything because then this video will be way too long, and I don't want to bore people. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed it and you got to know me a little bit more. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. I hope you have a good day. Love you guys.